Hi, I wanted to come in and talk about a card I picked from Daily Healing within a Segal. It says, know thyself. It is the most important task you have. What do you think about that? The most important task that we have as human beings is not to know other people, right? Not to know our spouse. I mean, those are things that we do, right? Our kids, our spouses, our friends. But our most important task is to know ourselves. So I was just talking to a client who was signing up for a dating app. And she said there were a lot of questions about herself. And she found herself going, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't really know what I want. I don't know how I feel about intimacy in dating. I don't know how I feel about, just the different questions that she was being asked. She was like, I just kind of realized I don't really know myself all that well. Right? So, and I'm sure a lot of us would say that. And, I've talked about it before, like our most important job, our most important task, as the card says, is to explore who we are, to know deep down, who am I? What do I like? What do I not like? What do I want? What are my goals? What are my dreams? Like, life isn't just about going to work, eating dinner, watch TV, go to bed, wake up and repeat, right? Like Groundhog Day. I mean, a lot of us, our life is that, right? Mine has been at times. But I think when we live like that, it's a very empty life. And it's because we aren't getting to know ourselves deeply. And that takes time, right? Like for me, I was talking to another client this morning. We were talking about, how do we get from here, which is our logic and our brain, and it's always thinking and analyzing, get down into our hearts where our souls are and our spirituality. Maybe some people would call it their higher self, not just the thinking person, but the feeling, knowing, the knowing. And knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, helps you to get down in there into the real stuff, right? Off of the surface, down into the deep. Maybe look at it that way. There's so much to us, but if you think about the education that we all get, right? We go to school for, 13 years to learn the basics, reading, writing, math, that kind of science, that kind of thing. And then we go to college for however many years. For me, college supervision was 7 years to learn to do my job, to become a therapist. But I was able to bring children home from a hospital with zero education. Like zero. Like, here's a human. It's time to go home. Here you go. And we are able to get married with no education. I mean, even marriage, some, churches, like I think the Catholic Church and maybe some of the Protestant churches give at least a 6-week educational thing, but really, if you've been married, 6 weeks isn't going to cut it. So we have education for so many things, but what about the exploration and education about ourselves? Finding out who we are, what our gifts are, what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are, what our desires and passions are, what our dreams are, what, if you look at the bigger picture, if you're a bigger picture kind of person and you look at your higher power, like I was created so uniquely and put on earth. Why? Is there a purpose? Is there a reason I'm here? Well, it's probably good to find that out, right? So I'll read this card again. Know thyself. It is the most important task you have. Okay? So if you're thinking to yourself, I have no idea what you're talking about or where to start, reach out. Call a therapist or a coach and say, hey, do you know yourself? Do you know how to help me know myself? Good question, right? And put yourself on task, okay? Because you matter that much, right? Like, it's important. You matter. And if you're having trouble, when you think my biggest task is to get to know myself, I created a course called the Whole Life Self-Care course. Because I felt like a lot of the self-care things out there that were like educational for self-care were more get time to yourself, which is great. Get a massage, mani-pedi, get your hair done, and they're all great things for self-care. But my self-care course goes deeper into the deep self-care as opposed to the basic self-care. So it's not surface, it's more of the heart, like getting to know yourself. I teach you step by step how to set up a space for yourself to get to know yourself, what to do during that time. Getting to know yourself begins with starting to observe what goes on inside, like your self-talk. What do you say to yourself during the day? I remember years ago, my coach said, I want you to observe your self-talk throughout the next week. And I said, I don't talk to myself. And she said, yeah, you do. And I said, all right, if you say so, I'll try. And so I started observing and I was like, damn, do I talk to myself? And it is not pretty. So, and getting to know those types of things about yourself, once you have the knowledge and awareness of it, that's when you can change it. And once I changed my self-talk, I had the confidence I needed. And I had the friend in myself that I needed to accomplish my dreams. Okay? So, anyway, I hope you'll check out my course. It's at cindyjessiecourses.com. All right, take care.